I couldn't pick a career, so I accidentally invented one. When I was in university, I didn't have any interest in even thinking about what career I wanted to learn about, what I wanted to do with my life. I was only interested in drinking and smoking, girls, playing music. The career aspect seemed like it was an afterthought that didn't matter. Looking back, I don't mind that it went down that way because I'm very happy with where I'm at now and what my life has become. But at the time, it was a very stressful and confusing time because when you're that age, everyone around you is begging that you pick a path to take in life and you stick to it and you make something of yourself. Now, after I graduated university, I did a number of random jobs. I worked maintenance at a campground. I was in construction. I was an equipment operator for a couple of different companies. And none of those positions really stuck, and furthermore, they didn't pay very well. In my mid-20s, I decided that I was going to be some kind of architectural designer or architectural technologist. So I went to college for architecture. After about 2 months of doing that, I realized that I didn't like it and I couldn't see myself doing it for the rest of my life. So then I picked up a camera. I just started taking pictures and I stopped going to class. I started going to the family cottage and just shooting nature. I would shoot cityscapes in the town that I was going to school in. I then realized that that was my passion. That was the thing that I wanted to do. It wasn't this architecture thing where I was designing houses, it was doing photography. So I dropped out of school, fixed up my truck, and I drove out west. I got another job there as an equipment operator again, while I was still taking photos of things. At some point while I was out there, I had this gut instinct to call this photographer back in Niagara, where I was from. I asked him how to be a photographer. From there, I did the rest of my time that I had committed to being out west, drove back home, and started working with this photographer. And he taught me how to be a photographer. Now, when I got back home and I took this mentor up on his offer to do photography with me, I still had no idea what I was doing with my life. And that was 28 or so. I'm 35 now. 7 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing with my life. Because while I was learning from him, he wasn't paying me to learn. So I still worked stupid jobs. I worked for a commercial construction company. I did more maintenance back at that same campground. I worked for another construction company, a residential construction company. And all the while, I was learning how to professionally do something that I was really excited about, that resonated with me on a very, very deep level. Now, as I was learning from Mike, the mentor, I was getting hungry and hungrier. And my father was very sick, and I knew that when my father passed away that I would need to have the time and the money to kind of clean up his estate. I started to get a little pushy with Mike, and I started to tell him that I needed money from him, and he wasn't really in a position to pay me what I felt I needed. So I didn't leave him or anything right away. I valued learning from him, and I kept working with him for quite a while after those first conversations started to happen. But I did start to get curious about how I could then make more money with the camera. After a little bit of research online, I started getting these ads for a filmmaking course. I had never had any interest in video. I didn't know anything about it, but I took the course, and all of a sudden I knew how to make video. So I started making free videos for people. And while I was making free videos for the people, I was also doing photography for them. Before I knew it, I was making money doing this. So I stopped working with the mentor. I started my own business. And then I kept getting busier and busier. It started with community-driven projects, so working for the Performing Arts Centre and working for the Canada Games, a bunch of local marketing companies who needed photography and video. And then I started getting a little bit strategic. And this is where what I was doing became more of a scalable and sustainable business, an actual career, instead of just trading time for money and hoping that the numbers make sense at the end of each project. So this was the turning point. This was the point in my career when I started to take it a little bit more seriously, and I started to get even hungrier. I got an office for myself, and at some point down the line, I built a studio as well. And through all of that, I kept investing into myself. I took a coaching program think it was 10 grand. And that taught me even more about business and how to run a business. In doing that, I realized that I wasn't just a photographer, just a videographer, filmmaker. I realized what I was a digital marketer. All of the things that I was already doing for myself, I could actually do for these clients as well. I started doing website stuff, and all of the content that I created went right into the website. I started doing blogs and Google posting for clients, posting on YouTube for clients, social media management, and creative ad strategy. I wasn't physically doing all of these things. There was a lot of people that I would subcontract to help me do these things, but I became sort of a creative broker for other people who were really good at what they do. And the idea was that we could all make money together. Now I'm currently in a new phase of that kind of growth, and I'm trying to get even more strategic with how I am growing that business, Ashcroft Media. I love every single moment of it. So what is the moral of the story here? The moral of the story is that if there's something that you feel you should be doing, then you should just do it. Because 7 years ago, I was in a completely different place than I am today. And the only reason I am where I am today, spiritually, mentally, physically, is because I started taking little actions that felt like they resonated with what I wanted out of this life. I went to architecture school and it didn't work out. I didn't like it. And that's okay, because it led me to the realization that what I really loved was photography. So I started taking pictures. And then that filled me with a curiosity and a sense of adventure and wanting to experience things through that lens. That filled me up with enough inspiration to fix my truck up and drive out west. And then because I was out west in this new environment and new neurons were firing, I had the idea to call this photographer who became my mentor. And then I worked with him, and then I learned how to be a photographer, and then I realized I wanted more money, and I became a video guy, and then I wanted even more. So then I got the office and the studio, and I had all these subcontractors helping me do all the work. And all of that started with individual, simple choices and decisions. So think deeply about what you're doing right now to make money, and if there's something that you would be better suited at. It's a very strange environment right now, the economical world, for a number of reasons. There's international unrest. There's the constant threat and confusion of something like artificial intelligence that has a lot of people convinced that jobs might not exist in the future, which is kind of a weird concept for us to wrap our heads around. But I don't think anything that is based in fear will ever turn out beneficial, because you have to think about the alternative. You could sit around and feel concerned about the unrest of the world, an unknown future. You don't want to put time and effort into something just for it to vanish at some point. But what is the alternative? The alternative is you continue doing whatever you're doing right now and you hate it. And every morning when you wake up, you just feel pissed off that you have to go and work for somebody or for something that doesn't actually serve you. I have blended everything that I love, and I have invented a job for myself, and I love it very much. And I think that everybody can do the same thing. It's not hard, it's extremely easy. The hard thing is deciding to take an action or a series of actions that are going to get you closer to that thing that you actually want to be doing. I hope this video helps you out. If you're kind of thinking about what should I do with my life, what kind of path should I go down, really keep in mind that everybody is good at something, if not multiple things. With the internet and the tools that we have at our disposal today, you can build, market, and sell anything that you want. If I were to give myself advice 10 or 15 years ago, I would have just said, stop wasting your time going and getting jobs that don't resonate with you, with people that make you feel miserable and suck the energy out of you. I would say just pick a thing that you like and that you're good at. Start doing it for people for free, if we're talking about a service. And then eventually people will pay you to do that thing. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.